Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A publication, or a passage from a publication, that is referred to. He spent hours looking for the source of that quotation. Someone who originates or causes or initiates something. Anything, a person or animal or plant or substance, in which an infectious agent normally lives and multiplies. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Pittsburgh is the source of the Ohio River. Anything that provides inspiration for later work. A person who supplies information. A document, or organization, from which information is obtained. The reporter had two sources for the story. A facility where something is available. Get, a product, from another country or business. She sourced a supply of carpet. Specify the origin of. The writer carefully sourced her report. Technology, a process by which energy or a substance enters a system. A heat source. A formal recommendation by a former employer to a potential future employer describing the person's qualifications and dependability. Requests for character references are all too often answered evasively. A publication, or a passage from a publication, that is referred to. He carried an armful of references back to his desk. The act of referring or consulting. Reference to an encyclopedia produced the answer. A short note recognizing a source of information or of a quoted passage. The most direct or specific meaning of a word or expression. The class of objects that an expression refers to. A remark that calls attention to something or someone. The speaker made several references to his wife. Computer science. The code that identifies where a piece of information is stored. A book to which you can refer for authoritative facts. He contributed articles to the basic reference work on that topic. Refer to. He referenced his colleague's work. An indicator that orients you generally. It is used as a reference for comparing the heating and the electrical energy involved. The relation between a word or phrase and the object or idea it refers to. He argued that reference is a consequence of conditioned reflexes. Someone who originates or causes or initiates something. Writes, books or stories or articles or the like, professionally, for pay. Be the author of. She authored this play. Someone who originates or causes or initiates something. He was the generator of several complaints. An apparatus that produces a vapor or gas. An electronic device for producing a signal voltage. Engine that converts mechanical energy into electrical energy by electromagnetic induction. Lake used to store water for community use. Anything, a person or animal or plant or substance, in which an infectious agent normally lives and multiplies. An infectious agent depends on a reservoir for its survival. A large or extra supply of something. A reservoir of talent. Tank used for collecting and storing a liquid, as water or oil. Serving to begin. The beginning canto of the poem. The time at which something is supposed to begin. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. The Italian beginning of the Renaissance. The act of starting something. He was responsible for the beginning of negotiations. The event consisting of the start of something. The beginning of the war. The first part or section of something. It was a dark and stormy night, is a hackneyed beginning for a story. The descendants of one individual. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Jupiter was the origin of the radiation. Properties attributable to your ancestry. He comes from good origins. An event that is a beginning, a first part or stage of subsequent events. The point of intersection of coordinate axes, where the values of the coordinates are all zero. The source of something's existence or from which it derives or is derived. The rumor had its origin in idle gossip. A simple form inferred as the common basis from which related words in several languages can be derived by linguistic processes. Someone from whom you are descended, but usually more remote than a grandparent. Become settled or established and stable in one's residence or lifestyle. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The set of values that give a true statement when substituted into an equation. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Communism's Russian root. Dig with the snout. The pig was rooting for truffles. A number that, when multiplied by itself some number of times, equals a given number. Botany, the usually underground organ that lacks buds or leaves or nodes, absorbs water and mineral salts. Usually it anchors the plant to the ground. Cause to take roots. Cheer for. She roots for the Broncos. Come into existence, originate. The problem roots in her depression. Plant by the roots. Take root and begin to grow. This plant roots quickly. The embedded part of a bodily structure such as a tooth, nail, or hair. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. A developed system of roots. Fixedness by or as if by roots. Strengthened by rootage in the firm soil of faith. A minute life form, especially a disease-causing bacterium. The term is not in technical use. Anything that provides inspiration for later work. A small apparently simple structure, as a fertilized egg, from which new tissue can develop into a complete organism. The thick white fluid containing spermatozoa that is ejaculated by the male genital tract. One of the outstanding players in a tournament. Anything that provides inspiration for later work. Place seeds in or on the ground for future growth. She sowed sunflower seeds. A mature fertilized plant ovule consisting of an embryo and its food source and having a protective coat or testa. A small hard fruit. Bear seeds. Distribute, players or teams, so that outstanding teams or players will not meet in the early rounds. Go to seed, shed seeds. The dandelions went to seed. Help, an enterprise, in its early stages of development by providing seed money. Inoculate with microorganisms. Remove the seeds from. Seed grapes. Sprinkle with silver iodide particles to disperse and cause rain. Seed clouds. Someone who sees an event and reports what happened. A person who supplies information. The business of issuing printed matter for sale or distribution. The act of issuing printed materials. A copy of a printed work offered for distribution. The communication of something to the public, making information generally known. A machine tool for shaping metal or wood. A person who makes things. A business engaged in manufacturing some product. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. A person who makes things. A vaguely specified concern. Things are going well. An action. How could you do such a thing? An artifact. How does this thing work? An entity that is not named specifically. I couldn't tell what the thing was. An event. A funny thing happened on the way to the. Any attribute or quality considered as having its own existence. The thing I like about her is. A persistent illogical feeling of desire or aversion. He has a thing about seafood. A separate and self-contained entity. A special abstraction. A thing of the spirit. A special objective. The thing is to stay in bounds. A special situation. This thing has got to end. A statement regarded as an object. To say the same thing in other terms. Be oriented. The weather vane points north. Sail close to the wind. Repair the joints of bricks. Point a chimney. Any of 32 horizontal directions indicated on the card of a compass. He checked the point on his compass. Be a signal for or a symptom of. Her behavior points to a severe neurosis. A specific identifiable position in a continuum or series or especially in a process. A distinct part that can be specified separately in a group of things that could be enumerated on a list. The main point on the agenda was taken up first. An outstanding characteristic. His acting was one of the high points of the movie. A V shape. The cannibal's teeth were filed to sharp points. A contact in the distributor. As the rotor turns, its projecting arm contacts them and current flows to the spark plugs. The dot at the left of a decimal fraction. Direct into a position for use. Point a gun. Indicate a place, direction, person, or thing, either spatially or figuratively. He pointed to the empty parking space. The property of a shape that tapers to a sharp tip. The gun muzzle's direction. He held me up at the point of a gun. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. The point of the arrow was due north. An isolated fact that is considered separately from the whole. A point of information. A wall socket. An instant of time. At that point I had to leave. A very small circular shape. A row of points. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Give a point to. Intend. something, to move towards a certain goal. A punctuation mark, placed at the end of a declarative sentence to indicate a full stop or after abbreviations. A brief version of the essential meaning of something. Get to the point. A distinguishing or individuating characteristic. He knows my bad points as well as my good points. A geometric element that has position but no extension. A point is defined by its coordinates. A linear unit used to measure the size of type, approximately 1/72 inch. A promontory extending out into a large body of water. They sailed south around the point. A style in speech or writing that arrests attention and has a penetrating or convincing quality or effect. Be positionable in a specified manner. The gun points with ease. Indicate the presence of game by standing and pointing with the muzzle. The dog pointed the dead duck. Mark, a psalm text, to indicate the points at which the music changes. Mark, Hebrew words, with diacritics. Mark with diacritics. Point the letter. 1% of the total principal of a loan. It is paid at the time the loan is made and is independent of the interest on the loan. Sharp end. He stuck the point of the knife into a tree. The object of an activity. What is the point of discussing it? The precise location of something, a spatially limited location. She walked to a point where she could survey the whole street. The unit of counting in scoring a game or contest. He scored 20 points in the first half. A product of your creative thinking and work. He had little respect for the inspirations of other artists. The act of inhaling. The drawing in of air, or other gases, as in breathing. Theology. A special influence of a divinity on the minds of human beings. Arousing to a particular emotion or action. Arousal of the mind to special unusual activity or creativity. A sudden intuition as part of solving a problem. A person who communicates with others. Writing that provides information, especially information of an official nature. Computer science. A computer file that contains text, and possibly formatting instructions, using 7-bit ASCII characters. Anything serving as a representation of a person's thinking by means of symbolic marks. A written account of ownership or obligation. Record in detail. The parents documented every step of their child's development. Support or supply with references. Can you document your claims? Writing that provides information, especially information of an official nature. Writing that provides information, especially information of an official nature. The act of installing something, as equipment. The telephone installation took only a few minutes. A building or place that provides a particular service or is used for a particular industry. A formal entry into an organization or position or office. He gave a speech as part of his installation into the Hall of Fame. A building or place that provides a particular service or is used for a particular industry. The assembly plant is an enormous facility. A natural effortlessness. They conversed with great facility. Skillful performance or ability without difficulty. He was famous for his facility as an archer. A service that an organization or a piece of equipment offers you. A cell phone with internet facility. Something designed and created to serve a particular function and to afford a particular convenience or service. Be valid, applicable, or true. Receive a specified treatment, abstract. Come into possession of. How did you obtain the visa? A process existing in or produced by nature, rather than by the intent of human beings. A process existing in or produced by nature, rather than by the intent of human beings. An organic process that takes place in the body. Respiratory activity. The state of being active. His sphere of activity. The trait of being active, moving or acting rapidly and energetically. The level of activity declines with age. A process existing in or produced by nature, rather than by the intent of human beings. Volcanic activity. Any specific behavior. They avoided all recreational activity. Chemistry, the capacity of a substance to take part in a chemical reaction. Catalytic activity. A military engagement. He saw action in Korea. A judicial proceeding brought by one party against another. One party prosecutes another for a wrong done or for protection of a right or for prevention of a wrong. The operating part that transmits power to a mechanism. The piano had a very stiff action. Institute legal proceedings against. File a suit against. She actioned the company for discrimination. Put in effect. He actioned the operation. The state of being active. He is out of action. A process existing in or produced by nature, rather than by the intent of human beings. The action of natural forces. An act by a government body or supranational organization. Recent federal action undermined the segregationist position. Something done, usually as opposed to something said. There were stories of murders and other unnatural actions. The most important or interesting work or activity in a specific area or field. The action is no longer in technology stocks but in municipal bonds. The series of events that form a plot. His novels always have a lot of action. The trait of being active and energetic and forceful. A man of action. A skilled worker who coins or stamps money. A maker of counterfeit coins. Someone who is a source of new words or new expressions. The source of water from which a stream arises.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.